Seriously, don't even think about begging for someone's attention. Don't go lowering yourself again, hoping they'll finally recognize your worth. And if you've already done that, if you've given so much that you feel empty now, take a good look at yourself. Why can't you see your own value? Why are you wasting your time, energy, and heart on someone who doesn't treat you right? It's like an afterthought. Why are they so important to you? Who made them the center of your world? You're sacrificing your self-respect, pride, and power just to get a bit of their attention. Let's be real, it wasn't them. You did this. You handed them your worth on a silver platter, and now you're left feeling empty and used. After all that, what have they given you? Do they treat you like you're valuable, like you matter? No, they see you as a beggar, someone who chases, waits, and hopes. They don't see you as someone to respect. They see you as their puppet, someone they can control, just someone who's there. They don't recognize your worth because you showed them you're okay with being taken for granted, and now they do it all the time. That's enough. It's time to put an end to this right now. You need to reclaim your power. Stop belittling yourself for someone who doesn't even care to see you. Stop begging for scraps from someone who's not even in your league. They're not going to give you the respect you deserve. You deserve respect, and you haven't asked for it, but that changes today. We're going to turn things around. They're going to recognize your worth without you even having to say anything. You're done chasing after them, done begging for their attention. From now on, they'll feel your absence, realize what they lost, and regret taking you for granted. This isn't about playing games or getting revenge. It's about reminding yourself and them that you're not disposable. You're not their second choice. You're someone they should truly value and remember. Listen up. It's time to respect yourself. Here's my challenge. If you're really ready to stop feeling like a beggar and stop letting others pull your strings, then say this with me. I am worth more. Don't just say it. Believe it, own it, live it. Drop it in the comments as your declaration. This is your moment to reclaim your power, the moment when people start seeing you as unforgettable. So let's get into it. Today, we're diving into some deep psychological tricks that will make them recognize your true worth. Sometimes, when you've tried everything and they still take you for granted, you need to switch things up. It's not about waiting for them to notice you or hoping they'll start caring. Instead, you've got to use some clever tactics that force them to see your true worth. These aren't just basic tips or feel-good advice. These are real strategies to change how they view you. Make such a strong impression that they can't stop thinking about you. You won't be the one chasing after their attention or compromising your self-respect anymore. They'll be the ones who are curious, obsessed, and feeling drawn to you. Each of these 11 dark psychology tricks is designed to make them feel your absence and crave your attention more than ever. But here's the thing, you have to use all of them. If you skip even one, you'll find yourself back where you started. Once you start being taken for granted, every tactic you use just builds on the last one, making the effect even stronger. Before you know it, they're completely hooked, caught up in a cycle of wanting more from you without even realizing why. This is the ultimate way to influence someone, putting you in control without having to beg, chase, or wait around. So, if you're ready to be unforgettable and make them really feel your presence, let's jump into these 11 intense, dark psychology tricks. Now, you might be thinking about using these tricks. It sounds a bit manipulative or even harmful, like instead of genuinely attracting people, you're just playing mind games. But let's be clear, this isn't about tricking or hurting anyone. It's about understanding and using the natural way people think and behave. Think of it this way. Fire can burn, but in the right hands, it also provides warmth, light, and energy. These techniques are just tools that can help you form real, lasting connections when used honestly. Imagine a beautiful, rare flower in a field. It doesn't chase after anyone, yet everyone who sees it is drawn to it. When someone walks by, they can't help but stop and appreciate it. Its power comes from its own nature and the vibe it gives off. You're figuring out how to build that same presence within yourself, one that naturally grabs people's attention without trying too hard. Like Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness in your life depends on how good your thoughts are. This is about leveling yourself up, becoming someone people can't overlook because you've put the work into your own growth, self-worth, and boundaries. Using these techniques doesn't mean tricking them, means figuring out what really grabs people's attention and makes them interested in you. You're helping them recognize your worth, not by forcing it, but by being patient, showing depth, and having confidence. You're not playing games, you're revealing a version of yourself that's interesting, captivating, and independent. When you do it the right way, these skills won't harm anyone. They'll create real attraction based on genuine interest instead of just chasing. Remember this: the one who has mastered themselves is truly powerful. These are your tools for mastering yourself and making a real impact on the people around you. It's not about manipulation. You really need to get a handle on all 11 tricks because they work together, creating unstoppable momentum. Each one boosts the others, forming a solid foundation that makes you truly unforgettable. You can't just cherry-pick. The real power comes from using the whole set together to attract others in a way that's smooth and effortless. All right, folks, it's time we check out our 11 dark psychology tricks to totally transform your vibe from normal to captivating. If you haven't yet, smash that like button below this video. It helps spread the word to others who could use it, and it connects you with a community all about growth and mastering yourself. Remember, the best way to help yourself is to help others take charge of their lives too. So, let's not waste any time. Let's dive into our first dark psychology trick. Number 1, the silent treatment. When it comes to making someone think about you all the time, nothing works better than going silent. It's a strong move, but let's be clear. This isn't a game. It's about reclaiming your power. For too long, you've let them have control over you, waiting for a text and hoping for their attention. Why let them treat you like you're some spare option, only around when they feel like caring? You're not a backup, and you're definitely not their puppet. When you pull away from someone's life, even just for a bit, it creates a shift. It's like when you have music playing all day but don't notice it until it suddenly stops. Then the silence feels weird, almost too quiet. That's how your absence will hit them when you stop reaching out and making yourself available. They'll notice the change. At first, they might not even get what's going on, but slowly they'll start to feel it. If you stop reaching out, they'll start to notice, and it'll bug them every time they check their phone and see no message from you. That'll spark their curiosity, and before you know it, they'll be thinking about you, asking questions, and wanting to connect. We live in a world where everyone expects others to be available all the time. There's this idea that you should reply right away, drop everything when they call, and always be there. But the more you make yourself available, the less they appreciate having you around. Why? Because they assume you'll always be there. When you suddenly pull back and go quiet, it completely shakes things up. You're showing them something unexpected that makes them stop and really notice you. When you take a step back, they'll definitely feel it. They'll start to wonder why you're silent, what's different, and most importantly, what they might have messed up. It creates an uneasy feeling that makes them think about you even more. There's a reason people say absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's just human nature to miss what we can't have. People tend to value things that seem rare. When you take a step back, things start to feel a bit shaky. You turn into this unique and interesting presence that sticks in their minds. They begin to remember all the little things they didn't notice when you were always around. Maybe it was how you really listened, or the way you had their back, or just the fact that someone actually cared enough to be there. Whatever it is, they start to feel the impact of you not being there. And that's exactly what you're after. Instead of just being an option, you become someone they think about and miss. This approach is really effective because it hits people psychologically. They're naturally tuned in to what's lacking. They feel the pain of something they used to appreciate. When you give too much, you just fade into the background. But when you pull back, it's a game changer. Suddenly, your absence is like a loud silence that they can't ignore. They'll start replaying past talks, questioning if they overlooked something, searching for hints that things were about to shift. This sets off a cycle where they keep thinking about you, not because you're around, but because you're not. You're leaving a gap they want to fill. But here's the thing. Pulling away isn't about just disappearing for good. It's about creating some space for them to feel the loss. Then, when they're ready, you can step back in, and they'll see you in a different light. It's like a pendulum. You pull back, they feel the distance. And when you come back, they're more drawn to you and ready to appreciate you even more. It's like you've hit the reset button, and now they have to put in some effort to get your attention back. They'll think twice about taking you for granted because now they know what it's like to miss you. This isn't about playing games, it's about respect, self-respect. By stepping back, you're showing them you're not just an option in their life, waiting around. You're giving them a choice, either appreciate you or get used to not having you around. Marcus Aurelius once said that the happiness of your life depends on improve the quality of your thoughts by choosing to prioritize your self-respect over seeking their approval. You're not ignoring them to play mind games, you're just taking back control of your time and attention. This isn't about hurting them, it's about helping them realize the value you bring, a value they're starting to overlook. Picture this, you're always there for them, like a shadow, supportive, caring, and available. They hardly notice because they're so used to it. But one day, that shadow is gone, and suddenly they realize. The things they used to take for granted feel kind of hollow now. They're starting to notice how much your presence really mattered when they feel your absence. They might even start reaching out just to check in and see if you're all right. You've sparked an emotional reaction without saying anything at all. Now they're wanting your attention, not because you pleaded for it, but because you pulled back. So here's what I want you to do. Make a promise to yourself right now. Write this affirmation in the comments. I know. Know your worth and believe in it, because once you do, others will too. No more waiting around, hoping and giving everything without getting anything back. You're taking back your power and becoming someone they can't stop thinking about. Stick with me, because we're just getting started. In the next part, we'll dive even deeper into more techniques that will keep you on their mind long after you've moved on. Number 2, plant a seed of doubt. It's one of the most effective ways to stay on someone's mind. Planting a little doubt can be a clever way to show someone that you're not entirely theirs and that there are other people in your life. It's not about lying or making up stories. It's about letting them know you have options and that others find you interesting too. When you drop that hint of doubt, it makes them think about whether someone else might catch your eye, keeping you on their mind. People really want security and control in relationships, after all. When people think they can always count on your attention, time, or love, they start to take you for granted. It's just how people are. But if you add a bit of mystery by hinting that your attention is special and not just theirs, it shakes things up. Suddenly, they start wondering if they're the only one you're thinking about and if they need to do more to keep you interested. It's a subtle way to spark their curiosity and insecurities without even saying anything. That's the beauty of this tactic. It doesn't take any huge gestures. You don't have to go out of your way to make them jealous or play mind games. Sometimes, it's as easy as casually bringing up plans with friends or mentioning how someone complimented you. The trick is to be subtle. You're not showing off the attention you're getting, you're just hinting that you're someone worth noticing. Someone others might want to chase after if they're not paying attention. Picture this. You're chatting with them, and in the midst of a fun conversation, you just casually say you were hanging out with friends and bumped into someone interesting who gave you a compliment. Don't make it a big deal, just drop it in and move on. They'll start wondering who that person was, if you like them, and if they should be worried about you getting distracted. That little bit of uncertainty will stick with them and keep you on their mind even after the chat ends. A little seed of doubt is like a nagging itch in their head. It's not enough to spark full-on jealousy, but it's just enough to make them second-guess where they stand with you. This keeps you on their mind and makes them feel like they need to put in the effort to keep you around. That's when they start thinking about what they need to do to keep you interested. They'll step up their game and try harder to grab your attention because they no longer take it for granted. Guaranteed. But just keep in mind, this isn't about making them feel guilty or trying to make them jealous to the point where they feel insecure. You're just reminding them that you have your own life, options, and values that don't depend on their approval. You're subtly showing them that other people might find you attractive too. Sometimes, just that little awareness is enough to spark their interest again, keep you on their mind, and make them see you as someone worth investing in. Marcus Aurelius once said that the soul gets colored by when you plant a seed of doubt in their mind, you give them something to think about. It changes how they see you, adding a bit of mystery and attraction. You're letting them know that they can't just have your attention, they have to work for it. By respecting yourself and showing that you're not fully available, you actually boost your worth in their eyes. So, as you go on, remember how important this tactic is. Make sure they see that other people notice you and that you're not just there for them. Just hanging around waiting for their attention isn't about playing games. It's about giving them a reason to appreciate you and value what you bring. The best part? They won't even realize it's happening. They'll just feel that pull, that need to keep you close, because deep down, they'll know that if they don't, someone else will. Try this out for yourself and watch how they start putting in more effort to keep you engaged and show you they're worth your time. This little seed of doubt will stick around, making you a constant thought in their mind. They can't ignore it anymore. So, here's the affirmation I want you to drop in the comments. I am worth the chase. Say it, believe it, and remind yourself every time you feel like you need to overgive. You're not here to be taken for granted. You're someone people value and think about, and that's the truth you should live by. Write it down once and for all, because knowing your worth changes how others see you. Stick with me, because this is just the start. We're moving ahead with even more powerful strategies to make a lasting impact. Get ready to make your next move that really strengthens their connection to you in a way they can't ignore. Number 3, fake intimacy. If you want to leave a lasting impression, creating a sense of false closeness is one of the best psychological tricks out there. It's not about lying or tricking them, It's about being selectively open, so they feel like they really know you, even if they've only seen a little bit. False closeness is all about sharing just enough personal stuff. Share little bits of yourself to create a cozy vibe that's special just for them, like they're getting a glimpse into parts of you that nobody else sees. When you do this, you're not spilling all your secrets or sharing every little thing about your life. Instead, pick out meaningful moments to share, like a story from your childhood that helped shape who you are, or a moment that shows your true values. These small, thoughtful reveals make them feel special. It's about really connecting with someone, even if you're only sharing a little bit of yourself. Picture sitting down and telling a story about a moment that changed how you see things. You don't have to get super emotional, but if you share it in a heartfelt way, it means a lot. This helps create a bond because they feel like they're getting a special glimpse into who you are. The cool thing about this kind of closeness is it makes them feel like they really know you while you still keep the most personal parts of yourself safe. Mysterious people naturally gravitate towards those they feel a connection with. When you create moments that seem intimate, they'll start to trust you and feel comfortable around you. They'll replay those moments in their heads, seeing you as someone they can relate to, someone who really understands them. They might even start to feel like they're special to you, which makes them want to keep you around even more. And the catch is, by holding back some parts of yourself, you're also making sure they stay curious. They'll feel like there's more to discover about you, more layers to uncover. This mystery keeps them interested, and that interest keeps them thinking about you. They'll start wanting more of those moments, more of that special connection they believe only they have with you. So here's your affirmation: I am unforgettable. Write it down in the comments right now. This isn't about losing your power. It's about understanding that people are attracted to you. Of course, you don't have to spill all your secrets to make a lasting impression. By creating a sense of closeness, you're giving people a glimpse of who you are without going overboard. Stick around, because we're about to dive deeper into some strategies that will make you unforgettable. You won't want to miss what's up next. Number 4 is the push and pull. This classic technique is super effective for getting someone to think about you all the time. Hey, this isn't about messing around. It's about building a natural vibe and flow in how you interact. You want to keep things dynamic and a bit unpredictable. When you get the hang of the push and pull, you show them you're not always available, and they can't just count on your attention whenever they want. This back and forth keeps them intrigued, makes them wonder where they stand with you, and makes them crave your attention. Here's the deal. 1 minute you're all in, warm, engaged, and giving them your full focus. Hey, so here's the deal. They start feeling noticed, valued, and connected with you. But just when they get comfy, you pull away a bit. You stop reaching out as much, get a little distant, or take longer to reply. That's the pull. It makes them wonder what's up. Did they mess up, or are you losing interest? Suddenly, they're the ones reaching out, trying to reel you back in, really wanting that connection they thought you had. This push and pull game works because it hits right at their need for validation. People naturally want what they can't quite have, right? So when you create a little distance, they'll start making more of an effort to get close to you again. It's like a dance. You pull them in and then step back. That unpredictability creates this magnetic tension, and they'll end up thinking about you more because they're not sure where they stand. Just keep in mind, this isn't about playing games or hurting anyone. It's about keeping things balanced. If you're always available, you can easily be taken for granted. Don't take it for granted. The push and pull shows them that your time and attention are valuable, and they'll need to put in the effort to keep it. Now, here's something I want you to drop in the comments. I am worth the chase. Say it, believe it, and own it. You don't need to chase anyone. You're someone worth pursuing. This is about them wanting you around, not the other way around. Stick with me, because the next strategy dives even deeper into creating an irresistible allure that will make a lasting impression on their mind. Number 5. Mixed signals can really mess with people's heads. Humans naturally want clarity and stability, but at the same time, we're drawn to a little bit of uncertainty. When someone can't pin you down, they start to fixate on what you're thinking, why you're acting a certain way, and where they fit in with you. That's where mixed signals come in. By giving off confusing vibes, you keep them on their toes, creating a sense of mystery and unpredictability that makes them think about you all the time. Mixed signals are effective because they create an emotional roller coaster. 1 minute you're all warm and attentive, making them feel special and valued, and they start to feel comfortable, like they really matter to you. But just when they're settling into that vibe, you pull back a bit, acting a little distant or even distracted. They start to wonder if they did something wrong or if you're losing interest. This change keeps them on their toes, and they begin overthinking every little interaction, trying to figure out what you're really feeling. This push and pull keeps the game going. When you're really there for them, they feel important. But when you pull away, they start looking for that attention again to get your warmth back. This turns into a bit of a cycle where they're constantly thinking about you. It's like an emotional roller coaster, exciting, a bit nerve-wracking, and totally unforgettable. Just keep in mind, you're not trying to hurt them or mess with their heads. Mixed signals aren't about playing games. It's just about how you're feeling. Let them know you're multidimensional and not someone they can easily predict or control. When they realize they can't figure you out, they'll start putting more effort into understanding you and wanting your approval even more. Here's something I want you to drop in the comments. I am a mystery. Say it, believe it, and remember, you're not here to be an open book. You're meant to be intriguing, someone they can't fully understand. Stick around, because next we'll explore a tactic that takes this even further. Wanting even more makes you the person they can't stop thinking about. Number 6, the mirage of need. This is one of the sneakiest but most effective psychological tricks to keep someone on your mind. It gives the impression that they're special to you, almost like you need them in your life, without actually giving them all the power. It's like giving them a taste of intimacy, a little hint that they matter, but never letting them feel like they're your only lifeline. Here's how it works. Let them see moments when you might feel a bit vulnerable or need some support. It could be something casual, like mentioning a tough time you're having, or just saying you're feeling stressed or uncertain. You don't have to share your deepest secrets. You're just giving a glimpse that shows you trust them enough to reveal a softer side. This vulnerability helps create a connection, making them feel like they're seeing a side of you that not many people do. It's really powerful because people are naturally attracted to those they feel a connection with. They're there to help you out, but here's the thing. Don't let them think they're your only support or that you're totally dependent on them. You want them to feel needed, but not so much that they start taking you for granted. Pull back a little to remind them that while you might show a vulnerable side, you're not completely relying on them. You're still strong, independent, and capable on your own, which keeps them on their toes, trying to be that special person in your life. When someone feels like they need you, it creates a nice balance. They think they're important to you, but they can't help but wonder if they really matter as much as they believe. This keeps them engaged and always thinking about where they stand with you. Here's something to keep you grounded. I am strong on my own. Write that in the comments to remind yourself that while they might be attracted to your vulnerability, it's your strength that keeps them interested. Stick around, because next I'll share a technique that'll help. Turn up the attraction even more, making you the person they can't stop thinking about. Number 7. Create a rivalry. One of the best ways to get someone to think about you all the time is by igniting a little bit of competition. When they feel like they're vying for your attention, it kicks their competitive instincts into high gear, making them focus on you even more. The key is to create that sense of competition without actually bringing other people into it in a way that feels forced. You just want them to feel it. They're not the only ones who can grab your attention without saying it directly. Here's the deal. Talk about a past relationship or a close friendship in a way that shows how others have valued you. Bring up someone who really admired or appreciated something special about you, like a unique quality, talent, or part of your personality that makes you stand out. You're not just reminiscing about an ex or bragging about someone else. You're letting them see that other people have recognized your worth. They've noticed your value, even if it was a while ago. This makes them think that if they don't make a move, someone else might come along and see how great you are too. For example, you could mention a friend once said they admired how motivated you are. It feels good to have people appreciate that part of you. It's a small thing, but it packs a punch. You're letting them know that others see what makes you special, which might make them question if they're doing enough to keep your interest. That little bit of competition keeps them alert and encourages them to put more effort into the relationship. People naturally want what others have, and by fostering a friendly rivalry, you're giving them a reason to appreciate you even more. They'll see you as someone they don't want to lose to anyone else. Here's a mantra to reinforce this mindset. I am worth the fight. Write it down in the comments and own it. Remind yourself that people value you and you deserve to be pursued. Stay tuned, because the next technique goes even deeper into keeping them engaged and creating a connection they won't want to give up. Number 8. Limited access. The idea here is pretty straightforward, but really effective. People tend to appreciate things that aren't always within reach. When you make yourself less available, you actually boost the value of the time they spend with you. If you're always around, they might start taking you for granted. But if you limit your time and focus, it creates this sense of exclusivity that makes them want you even more. They begin to view every chat as a special chance, something they can't just count on happening all the time. Here's the deal. You get to decide when, where, and how much you want to be available to them. It's not about ignoring them or playing hard to get. It's about being a bit choosy. Don't always answer the phone on the first ring or reply to texts right away. Take your time, stay busy, and let them see you have a life with other activities and people who appreciate you. They should feel like they have to put in some effort to get your attention. Picture this. You're chatting with them, and they ask if you're free to hang out. Instead of jumping at the opportunity, you just casually say you're busy with plans, but might have some time later in the week. It shows you're not dropping everything for them and that you have your own life and priorities. Suddenly, you're not just another name on their list. You're someone with boundaries and a full life, and they'll have to fit you into their schedule. This creates respect and curiosity. They'll start to wonder what you're up to, who you're hanging out with, and what's so interesting about your life that you're not always available. That little bit of mystery goes a long way. It keeps them curious and thinking about you even when you're not there. Here's a little affirmation to help you with that mindset. I'm worth the wait. Jot it down in the comments and remind yourself that you don't have to be around all the time to be appreciated. By not being super available, you're letting them know that every moment with you is unique. And stick around, because next up, we'll dive into a technique that'll boost their attraction even more by keeping you on their mind. Thoughts on the delayed response technique. It's super effective for keeping someone interested and thinking about you. In a world where everyone expects instant replies, not responding right away really stands out. When you take a moment before you reply, it builds anticipation and creates curiosity. They'll start wondering why you haven't responded yet and what you're up to. Just to be clear, this doesn't mean ghosting them for days or playing hard to get. It's more about taking your time intentionally. Take your time before replying. If they text you, let it sit for a bit. If they ask a question, pause before you answer. This little wait sends a strong message. You're not just waiting around for them, and your time matters. Picture this. When they message you, instead of jumping to reply right away, you take a moment. Now they're wondering if you're busy or hanging out with someone else. That uncertainty keeps you on their mind, making them check their phone more often and think about what you're up to, questioning their spot in your life. In your world, taking your time to reply makes people see that they don't have you all to themselves, which actually boosts your value in their eyes. It's a little change, but it makes a big difference, turning a regular chat into something they can't stop thinking about. Here's a mantra to help you remember this. I'm in control. Write it down in the comments to remind yourself that you set the pace. You're not in a hurry for anyone's approval. They're the ones who want yours. Stick with me, because the next technique will really amp things up, making them feel a stronger connection they can't ignore. Number 10 is all about cranking up the doubt. This technique is about creating just enough uncertainty so they're constantly wondering where they stand in your life. People want security and reassurance, but when they start feeling even a little doubt, it makes them want to figure things out and secure their spot. You can do this by dropping subtle hints that they might not be the only one. If you want to keep someone interested in you, create a vibe that makes them curious about your life and where they fit into it. This doesn't mean being overly jealous or flirting with others. It's more about suggesting that you have a full life and other options. One easy way to do this is to casually bring up how busy you've been or the fun people you hang out with without spilling all the details. You could say something like, I've been out a lot this week. Hanging out with friends and staying busy makes them curious about who you're with, what you're up to, and why they're not your main focus. When they're left wondering who else might be getting your time, it creates a bit of competition. They'll start feeling like they need to do more to keep your interest or even go out of their way to grab your attention. This doubt is like a little spark. It doesn't have to be huge, but it's enough to keep them interested and thinking about you all the time. If you're wondering what's going on in your life without them, it doesn't mean you're being manipulative. You're just showing them that you've got an interesting life with or without them. This little bit of doubt makes them realize they can't just expect your attention and that they might need to put in some effort to stay in your life. Here's your affirmation, I am unforgettable. Write it in the comments and let it remind you that you're not here to prove your worth to anyone. They should be the ones questioning and trying to earn your attention. Keep this in mind, because in the next part, we'll explore a technique that makes you stick in their thoughts so you're always on their mind. Number 11 is future hooks. This is a cool way to stay on someone's mind by casually bringing them into your future plans. When you mention things you might do together, you're planting the idea that you'll be in their life going forward. It creates an emotional connection that makes them think of you as someone important. It's important to connect with someone who's not just a one-time thing, but someone you see a future with. You don't need to make a big deal out of it. Just drop hints like, "We should totally check out that new spot together sometime," or "I can't wait to see your reaction to that movie coming out next month." These aren't promises, just little ways to get them thinking about you in the future and creating a connection that goes beyond just the here and now. Give them something to look forward to that involves you. This is really powerful because people naturally like to anticipate and think about what's coming next. By creating future hooks, you're giving them a little nudge to keep you on their minds. They'll start linking their future with you, feeling a subtle but strong attraction whenever they think about upcoming events. Here's a little affirmation to lock in this mindset. I am part of their future. Write it down in the comments to remind yourself. You're not just a face in the crowd. You're someone they'll remember in the days, weeks, and months ahead. So there you go. 11 solid ways to get someone thinking about you all the time. These aren't just gimmicks. They're real strategies for creating a vibe that sticks with them long after you're gone. Now, it's your turn to make it happen. If you're ready to own your power and make a lasting impression, kick things off with the affirmation we talked about. I am unforgettable. Share it in the comments. Hit the link below to show you're in. If this spoke to you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more tips like this, and share it with anyone who could benefit from these awesome strategies. Let's create a community of people who know their worth and embrace their power. Stick around because we've got more coming on mastering the art of attraction and self-control.